So today, I'd like to introduce the soteriology of Shin Buddhism. And I confess that I learned this word, soteriology, from retired Hawaii Betsuin Rinban, Reverend Tatsuo Muneto. Soteriology, if you look it up in the dictionary, is the study of salvation theory. So salvation. So what is salvation in Jodo Shinshu? What did Shinran, right? What did Master Shinran, what did Shinran Shōnin teach about salvation in the context of Pure Land Buddhism and Jodo Shinshu, of Shin Buddhism, in the context of Honganji tradition? So let's explore that this morning. So please join me in putting our hands together in Gassho and listening to the words of Shinran Shōnin. Reverently contemplating the true essence of the Pure Land Way, I see that Amida's directing of virtue to sentient beings has two aspects: the aspect for our going forth to the Pure Land, the aspect for our return to this world. In the aspect for going forth, there is the true teaching, practice, shinjin, and realization. The words of Shinran Shōnin in the opening, the introduction to a collection of passages revealing the true teaching of the Pure Land Way, which you can find in the Collected Works of Shinran, Volume 1, page 7. So this is actually the opening to the Jodo Shinshu, his masterpiece, the masterwork that explains everything about Jodo Shinshu. Now, in the Shozo Matsu Wasan, the hymns of the Dharma ages, Shinran again emphasizes the two aspects of Amida's directing of virtue to us. Quote, "The directing of virtue embodied in Namu Amida Butsu is, in its benevolent working, vast and inconceivable. Through the benefit of directing virtue for going forth, we enter the directing of virtue for returning to this world. Through great love, which is Amida's directing of virtue for our going forth, we attain great compassion, which is Amida's directing of virtue for our return. If not for the Buddha's directing of virtue, how could we realize enlightenment in the Pure Land?" The words of Shinran Shōnin. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So in these verses, Shinran Shōnin equates Amida's directing of virtue for our going forth, to be born into the Pure Land, as great love. Right? And Amida's directing of virtue for our return to this world of delusion to save others, as great compassion that we receive as part of receiving great love, this directing of virtue to us to be born in the Pure Land. So in these verses, right, remember that Shinjin is the true cause of birth in the Pure Land. And thus, Shinjin is the great love of Amida. This great love transforms our self-centered human hearts and minds into great compassion that aspires to be born in the Pure Land, to become Buddha. Not because we want to be like super cool Buddha guy, but because we want to come back in oneness with Buddha, with Amida Buddha, to save others, to save everyone else. We don't want to leave anyone behind. Great love becomes great compassion. So, in these passages, Shinran Shōnin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu, explains the key doctrinal foundation of the Honganji tradition: Amida's directing of virtue for our going forth to be born in the Pure Land, and thus becoming Buddha, and Amida's directing of virtue for our return. So if you think of it this way, and every time you do some kind of academic things, a soteriology of Shin Buddhism, you have to have a chart, so bear with me. So this is me, my ego. I am defined by my ego self, living in the world of samsara, the world of endless birth and death, the world of delusion, this world of delusion, this world of delusion. Now left on my own, I'm totally helpless. I'm doomed to endless suffering, to endless birth and death, repeating this cycle of birth and death in the world of samsara, in the world of delusion, the world of delusion. So Amida knows this. So Amida Buddha. So Amida makes and fulfills the primal vow, the 18th vow, of creating a path for Buddhahood, right? Creating a way for self-centered, limited, all too human beings to become Buddha, beginning with me. So these virtues, which Amida is directing to us, sending these virtues to us. This comes to us in the form of Namo Amida Butsu. And specifically in the verse, it specifies Namu Amida Butsu. That's a technical thing, but the way you read it, this refers specifically to the name, the 6 kanji characters, Namu Amida Butsu. It's usually written Namu Amida Butsu. And this is the vehicle. So this is how Amida is reaching out to us. We're in the world of samsara, Amida is in the Pure Land, directing virtues to us. Why? Because I'm such a self-centered fool that there's no way that I'm left to my own devices. There's no way. My own self-power, I am not going to achieve enlightenment in this body, in this life. So, by the way, this is why in the Honganji tradition, we place so much emphasis on the respectful and reverent handling of anything with the 6-character name, with Na, Mu, A, Mi, Da, Bu, Su, because it is the embodiment, it is the manifestation of Amida's directing of virtue to us. So Namu Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, when we say it, is the vehicle, is the great ship, the great torch, the darkness of ignorance. So reflect upon how you came to encounter the Nembutsu. When did you first hear Namo Amida Butsu? When did you first say Namo Amida Butsu? For some people, we were born into Jodo Shinshu Buddhist families. We didn't have a lot of choice. Mom and dad said, hey, we're going to church. And we attended Sunday school. We were in the Cub Scouts, and then the Boy Scouts, and then the Junior YBA, and then the Senior YBA. And so we just kind of naturally encountered Namo Amida Butsu. It just came to us. For others, the journey began by simply deciding to walk in the front doors of the temple one day. For still others, the journey begins with an encounter of Buddhism as a philosophy, as a psychology, a way of looking at the human condition, as a way of life, or as one of the world's great religions. For all people who follow the path of Nembutsu, there is an inconceivable chain of events and causes and conditions, situations and people who brought us to listen and to hear the Dharma teachings, to hear Namo Amida Butsu, to say Namo Amida Butsu, to receive the gift of Shinji, to receive the gift of great love, the gift of great compassion. And then we say Namo Amida Butsu in gratitude, we say the Nembutsu of gratitude, and we try our best to be kind and gentle to all living things. But we are assured of birth in the Pure Land. We are assured of becoming Buddha. We are assured of coming back to this world of delusion and helping others in the way that we want to. I'd like to help everybody, but I'm a limited human being. There's a limit to what I can do. No matter how good my intentions, there's a limit to what I can do because I'm a human, I'm in this human body and I'm trapped by my human mind and my ego. So how do we change? So this diagram is really starting to get pretty technical here, but I'll just jump through all of it. So if you look it up, virtue for our going forth, also, echo. The virtue for our going forth, again, remember Shinran explains it as great love. This is Amida's great love being sent to us through Namo Amida Butsu. And as a result of this, our birth in the Pure Land, Gojo, is our birth in the Pure Land, becoming one with Amida, becoming Buddha, is assured in this life. So when we die, when we leave this human body, when we leave behind the human mind and the human ego, we are born in the Pure Land of Amida, and we become one with Amida. We become Buddha. So remember that the true cause, Shinran's key teaching, the true cause of birth in the Pure Land is Shinji. So this vehicle, right? So Amida Buddha is through Namo Amida Butsu sending great love to us. And this transforms our heart and our mind through Shinji. And thus our birth in the Pure Land is assured. And then remember there is the directing of virtue for our return. So this is called Genso, or great compassion. So this great love awakens great compassion for us. And this is, right, the virtue of coming back. Right? So that we're born in the Pure Land, which is really, it's a great place. Like to hang out, but I want to come back to this world because there's so many people who need to be helped. And now, as part of Amida Buddha, as in oneness with Amida Buddha, I can do it the way that I want to. I can help others the way that I want to. This causes this great love, this great compassion, causes our all too human heart and mind to take refuge in Amida, to entrust everything to Amida in joyous faith or Shinji. to help. Sorry, got lost here. So we aspire to birth in the Pure Land, and thus Buddhahood, not for self-centered reasons. For example, I want peace of mind. I want to be enlightened so I can tell other people how to live their lives. But it's driven by desire to save other people, to save all beings, to help others without the limitations of this human mind and body. And thus we receive great compassion, which is Amida's directing of virtue for our return. And the conclusion becomes, if not for great love and great compassion, Amida's directing of virtue to me, my ego, this egocentric, this self-centered person that I am, to me. Without that, without great love and great compassion, which is Amida Buddha, how could I achieve enlightenment in the Pure Land? Just on my own? It's not going to happen. So there's me, stuck in the middle of samsara. And it's not just me. There's a whole bunch of me's. There's a whole bunch of egocentric, self-centered, limited human beings running around thinking that we have the solution. Oh, all I have to do is meditate 10 minutes a day and I will be better than others. I will have peace of mind. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Where does all this gray hair comes from? Oh my God, the doctor just told me I have a very serious illness. Oh no, my best friend from high school just passed away. The truth is in front of us, but we choose to ignore it. We choose to delude ourselves into thinking, well, that's not going to happen to me. And yet it does. It is inevitable. And so this is why Amida sees this and says, Kerry, dude, let me send you some great love here. Transforming my heart and mind from selfishness to altruism, to other-centric, to becoming other-centric. Yeah, if not for great love and great compassion, Amida's directing a virtue to me, how could I achieve enlightenment in the Pure Land? Now, forget everything on that last chart and just listen to the Dharma of Shinran's verses. The directing of virtue embodied in Namu Amida Butsu is, in its benevolent working, vast and inconceivable. Through the benefit of directing of virtue for going forth, we enter the directing of virtue for returning to this world. Through great love, which is Amida's directing of virtue for our going forth, we attain great compassion, which is Amida's directing of virtue for our return. If not for the Buddha's directing of virtue, how could we realize enlightenment in the Pure Land? The words of Shinran Shōnin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu Shin Buddhism. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. The most important sutra, the most important words of Shakyamuni Buddha in the Jodo Shin tradition, in the Honganji tradition, is the larger sutra of the Tathagata of immeasurable life, of the Buddha of immeasurable life, which states that Amida's great love and great compassion grasps, never to abandon. The technical term is sesshu fusha, so grasp, to embrace, and never abandon. This is the great promise of great love and great compassion of Amida Buddha. Amida is sending forth great love, the directing of virtue the directing of virtue for our going forth, to be born into the Pure Land. Amida is sending forth great compassion, the directing of virtue, assuring my return to the samsara world of delusion, as Namo Amida Butsu, as the salvific working of Amida Buddha to save all beings, to guide others to true and real life and birth in the Pure Land. Amida is immeasurable life, has unlimited life. No matter how long it takes, Amida is there. Amida is also infinite light, unhinderable light, unblockable light, the light that shines everywhere. So no matter how far you try to run away, or no matter how big your ego is, and you're hiding in the shadow of your ego, the light of Amida is unhinderable. It's boundless. It cannot be limited. Namo Amida Butsu is Amida Buddha. It is the directing of virtue. It is great love. It is great compassion. It is meant for me, for us. So the strength and serenity to live life as it unfolds. Right? It's ups and downs, the bumps in the road. The strength and serenity to live life to the fullest comes from Amida. It is Amida. True and real life, Shinjitsu, right? True and real. That which is true and real is Amida, which is the Nembutsu, which is Namu Amida Butsu, which is the directing of virtue for our going forth, to be born in the Pure Land, to become Buddha, and to return to this world so that we can help everyone find their way to true and real life. So to put it in terms that Owen, the hero of the book, and Linus from Peanuts, so Snoopy's buddy, right? There's the kind of lime green, slightly turning brown Snoopy. To put it in terms that are much easier to understand, Amida is my security blanket, always with me, always there, always giving me the strength and serenity to live life to the fullest, no matter how life unfolds naturally. Shinran Shōnin's great teacher Honen taught, just say the Nembutsu and be saved by Amida. There's nothing else involved. And the essence of Shin Buddhism is Shinjin, the heart and mind that responds in gratitude to life as it unfolds naturally. Just say mahalo. Mahalo for listening this morning, and may your day be filled with aloha. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.